Good morning. Today is August the 12th, 2025, and for the record, this is Yahweh Elohim, YHWH, Yahweh, He who makes exists so. Glad we got past yesterday's ugliness, but these things too are used in the favor of ushering. It's my rod to usher people away from evil and into the light. However, as always known, humanity will make it more difficult than it needs to be every step of the way. And this time, instead of shepherding a few 100,000 to 1 million-ish people, the task is daunting, that's for sure. Just need to get the whole world uncrazy. So, every country that is in favor of a Palestinian state, that's already been there, and nothing's been done about it, I hold all of you personally responsible. You are the co-signers of evil. So, this is not a recommendation. This is your God telling you what to do. You can go and fly them out of Gaza. So, United Kingdom, go ahead, send some private jets, pick them up by the handful. I don't give a shit. Get them out of Gaza, because we're going to level Gaza to the ground. And then, if Benjamin decides not to keep the land, which I think is stupid, then turn it over to the Arabs and let them rebuild it. And if that's the case, then I want a 50-foot wall. I want the Great Wall of Israel completely separating the righteous from the unrighteous. Because if it goes into the hands of the Arabs, the same song and dance will happen. I just want to make sure that the boundaries and the borders of my land that you are going to essentially chop up, I want to border around my defined area, so I know everything outside of that wall I can condemn, and therefore I can destroy. So, you are welcome to protest, and you will suffer the consequences of such. So, if you want to support the Palestinians, you want to support the Gazans, then you can do so by picking them up in an Airbus, and you can put them up for hotels, you can pay their medical bills, and you know what? When they start to infiltrate your communities and they begin killing off people because someone doesn't agree with them, or once they're back to full health and they can regain their hatred for the modern and the pious world, because not everyone is in a shithole like they've created for themselves, so they either want to bring the world down to their level, or they want the world to bring them up to their level, so then they can more fashionably be open, terror, murderous. So, I can't even believe I'm having to say this. Like, this is absolutely insane that I am having to force the words out of my mouth, that the world is literally, openly, happily siding with evil, because here's the thing. I understand the women and children, you're right. It's an abomination. Why is no one talking about why are Palestinians putting their women and children in danger? Why are they saying, you know what? No, we're going to hold on to our hostages. Why is the world not up in arms about them giving back the hostages, and essentially the consequences of them putting their women and children in harm's way to slow the progress and to make it a meat grinder on purpose so the world behaves in the manner in which you're doing? You understand that when you give in to spoiled children, the child does not rectify his or her behavior, it only gets worse. Thus is true with a regular family, thus is true with a large country, a nation, or even a people group. As the Lord God, I've already said, the land should be annexed, it should be cleared, kept by Israel, made new Canaan of Israel, and all those that are going to stay worship the one true Elohim, Yahweh Elohim, YHWH. And that's how we know we're not going to have any issues when it comes to temple time or feast or anything like that. But that only works whenever our our friends, Canada, United Kingdom, France. How you liking those fires, by the way? Yeah, you guys go ahead, pour millions and billions of dollars of your taxpayer monies into funding evil organizations. Go right ahead, because I can tell you this: President Trump is doing exactly what I'm directing him to do in getting the illegal immigrants out of our nation and making sure that those who are in our nation are sane, are safe, they obey the 10 Commandments, they respect their nation, their country, they understand who their Elohim is, and they're going to carry on a good life and be protected from peril and plague, versus other countries who want to help so much the bad choices of evil terrorists, because again, you're being played like a fiddle. And it's insane that I have to even explain this, that people are falling for literally the schemes of the devil blatantly and openly. You look stupid. And if you don't think that that's not going to carry penalties, because guess what? Here's the one thing every human being gets to look forward to most is death. So at the end of the day, at the bare minimum, when someone perishes, you're going to be held accountable. And if you stood up for evil, then I am going to punish you for it. So if making yourself look good on TV for the rest of your 5, 10, 15, 20, even 50 years for some of you, you're all going to die one way or the other, right? Natural causes, natural disasters, old age even. Maybe not old age, but I'm saying it's the inevitable. So given that information, even at a bare minimum, if you are a selfish and stingy human, you should value your own soul and your own salvation and say, you know what, at the minimum, I'm just going to stay the fuck out of it and not try to piss God off. So, whenever I do perish, I'm not going to have to stand in front of his throne, and I'm not going to have to answer of why I supported evil, because I'm just telling you now, I don't really care what defense you've tried to conjure up in your mind to make sense about women and children and the pictures and the photos and the sickness and the babies. I don't give a shit. I'm the Lord God, Yahweh, Elohim, YHWH. Do you not think I know who's good and who's not? Do you not think I know how to sort people after? Do you not think I know the only solution to move forward? I do. And I do also know, because humankind never, you guys don't really surprise me, right? It really doesn't. Like, you guys are about as simple as a dog when he goes out into the wrong part of the yard and gets fleas. I know what I have to do. I have to wash that dog. I have to deflea him. I have to put him to work. Same thing with you humans. You guys have gotten comfortable with lies. You've gotten comfortable with debauchery. You've completely soured my planet, my earth. And now you've not only, caved in on all moral fiber, now you are so disillusioned, you are so ingrained into wicked and evilness that you are literally seeing wicked and evil schemes as the victor, as the winning side, as the should-be winning side. Guys, they worship either a non-existent god or some deity from the bottom side. Like, that's not a destination of heaven. That is not a destination that is created by me, Yahweh. Then the only other place, essentially, I'm not going to go into that. But the point I'm trying to make is, Israel, do not let up off the gas. You are in the right. I, as your Elohim, am telling you you're in the right. Continue. Again, Benjamin, what you decide is on you. I give you the same leeway as I give Trump, right? Trump bringing in the police to D.C. to clean it up. Hey, I agree. Why is any place in America even dealing with ramifications of sin so bad that we're dealing with murders? Murder, straight up murders. Murders in Target. I mean, when did this shit ever happen before? And I know people are saying, well, this time. Guys, like, these types of things at one point in time were not normal. They were not normal. All right. But you have now more people, because imagine how much time has gotten away from a true relationship with me, the Creator. How much time has gone by that people have fallen for idolatry, right? They've become the world. they now think the things of the world are somehow associated with the things of me. And that couldn't be further from the truth. You know? And again, Israel, and don't let those side-writing reporters in, because frankly, they're terrorists too. That's what they mean. You guys have terrorists in the United Nations, blatantly and openly. You have them in news sources. You have proven time and time and time again these staged photos where they're trying to prove and show that this famine, guys, it's at the hands of Hamas. That's what I mean. Why is the world not coming against Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran and those that are all supporting this radical, murderous people group? If they themselves don't want to be radicalized and murderous, then they need to set themselves apart and say, I'm no longer worshiping a demonic type of God. I'm not going to be worshiping demons anymore. I'm not going to be, doing those things. Then they can come under the true name, come into the understanding of the Torah, obey the 10 Commandments, and fall into a righteous position in society, and they'll have the benefits therein. This is all by choice. And again, the world does itself a huge disservice, because the world acts like, that's where really what this is there are no adults on the earth other than me. Because truly how it looks is all the kindergartners are making kindergarten level and kindergarten education level decisions, but they're making them for a CEO level enterprise, but they're doing it with the mindset of kindergarten, and it's appalling that no one else in the world other than the poorest people are looking up going, you got to be shitting me. The voices that are not heard by the millions, by the billions, is another thing. So you people on TV, your circle is really small. You people who speak for millions of people are actually out of step and out of tune. And if you've been following me for any amount of time, at least 24 months, when I began my coming out of the divine closet, I said the field in which I'm planting looks barren, and also it looks unlike any that any has ever planted before. As the Lord God on earth, those seeds in which I've planted, let's say I break it down to a pie chart, about 0.002% is reflected upon the YouTube channel. The other 99% is dispersed in lots more ways. In summary, the people, let's say it in a parable. So, there are many less seals playing in the ocean than there are plankton. But I, as the whale, do not eat the otter, but only the plankton. So, that probably wasn't the best parable. What I'm trying to say is, there are millions and millions and millions of more people that are, at least in some shape or form, spiritually connected to me. And when I decide to come to my temple, wherever that may be at this point, there will be one in Israel, and there will have an eternal flame that I'll light myself. But that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily, glued to my seat there. I have big plans for the world, and I have lots of places that I would like to have a place. But again, if the world's not in righteousness, then that'll happen after. Essentially, there are large portions of the entire earth that are gone, and all the people on it. Which brings me to my next point. So, that's another thing. How is no one completely going batshit crazy over Russia just beating the piss out of Ukraine for the last few years now? And it's like the world stage don't give a crap about that. They don't care about all the suffrage going on there. No one's up in arms about that. The worst the world is doing is they're just cowering in fear from Russia, saying, well, we're just going to build up arms and wait for the inevitable. Meanwhile, your largest threat isn't even that. Your largest threat is Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah. These are the people that caused 9/11. Okay, these are the people that murdered 90 Christians in Africa. These are the people that have, in the last just 25 to 30 years, have murdered six-digit death tolls. And not like, oh, a big bombing. It takes a lot of work for hands to work that much evil, and their hands have worked that much evil. They have literally spilt that much blood on my creation, all because the differences in belief. Because Christians, even though they're, half-baked and in a different pasture, they're generally supposed to be under me. So let's just go with that. Either way, right? I don't support the murder of anybody, even if they are ignorant and they worship stones and rocks and all that. I draw the line when they're worshiping demons, because I, as Elohim, must destroy those demons. I must remove them. I must get them out of the system. And they thrive on mankind. They are parasitic. So one day it's Keir Starmer and he's normal, and then the next day, guess what? Because he had unchecked sin continuously going through him, because he continuously blasphemed my name or ignored it, and then the last is he disobeyed me and he supported a terrorist country that's at war with my righteous country. He's opened the door. He's literally in spirit. He's opened the door and he said, hey, come on in, demons, come sup with me. I've done denounced the only one you're afraid of, and I've also sided with your partners, demons. So what do you think happens, numbnuts? That demon comes in and sups with you. How do I know this? As Elohim, this side of the game board is about the same. You are wanting to essentially use that power that I have as my Ruach. I try to send that out to confirm faith. When you've confirmed faith and you go, oh my gosh, this is really him. This is really Yahweh. This is Yahuwah. And in whatever way you can understand that, but when you can confirm that in your heart and your mind, the Ruach will then begin to confirm it in spirit. You're building up protection for you, and then the person you bring into the fold, you're building that protection for them, and then their children and their cousins and aunts, and that is the point, right? And this is what I mean, is it starts with your family nucleus, right? You start with yourself. You gain that understanding, and when the Spirit speaks to you and says, you found the right one, this is the true Christ, this is not the false prophets, this is the only Christ, right, who has been blessed with the divine power of Almighty Yahweh Elohim, and that is fully who I am. That's what I'm trying to say, is I'm not like, hey, let's, be born on planet Earth and then like, do nothing. Like, no, like I was born on planet Earth, so as God, as Yahweh, from heaven to earth, right, to work my will upon the earth, but to clean it up. If the righteous are going to inherit all the earth, how then are the people of the earth going to support unrighteousness? If only the good, non-killing people who obey Torah and they obey the Ten Commandments, if that is the bar in which people are going to be allowed to remain and then pass on and elevate into an afterlife, then I don't have that. That doesn't include Hamas on planet Earth. That doesn't include Hezbollah. That doesn't include radical Islamic Jihad. That doesn't include demon worshippers. Okay? Again, I've said, it's not because of who they worship that is necessarily the issue. It's that they kill my people, the Jewish people, the Israelite people. They've been massacring Israelites in Africa. They're Christian Judaism, right? They've been doing this for decades now. This is just commonplace for them. How has the world accepted this wicked and evil agenda, while at the same time trying to say they condemn Israel for not only defending themselves, then trying to neutralize the threat that has been killing their people? And Israel's not saying, hey, leave your women and children in front of us so we can kill them. That's not what's happening, you morons. Hamas and Hezbollah are leaving the women and children and saying, you better fucking stay or I'm going to shoot you and the baby. Then they're going to go run and hide. Then as the IDF is coming through, they're literally having to sift through the women and the children. And in the meantime, they're getting picked off by Hamas distances away. So these people themselves are really held hostage. But that's my point, right? If this situation, let's frame this up to an accurate example of what's happening, but explained a different way. We talk about Target. Let's say the gunman that just opened up here in Texas yesterday. I think a couple of them dead, unfortunately. And you know what? I had no thought about it. I had no angel telling me. No one had a guardian angel. Can you tell me that? So many people in an immediate location that had no guardian angel to call down my power on behalf of the person, of the human that they guard. I had no connection to anyone. So guess what happened? Gunmen opened fire in a Texas Target. Now let's say this gunman, so there's 10 of them. Say they stormed Target and they took, 500 people that are in Target hostage. And let's say this has been going on for days now, right? You got the terrorist negotiators out there. In reality, there is no end for those terrorists, right? There would be no end other than prison for life or suicide or death by cop, right? If someone did that. If these 10 people took 500 hostages at that Target instead of the shooting, let's say that happened. Why does that change when it's just a few thousand miles across the sea? Why does the dynamics change when you have a radical group who kidnapped normal citizens doing normal activities, and instead of the world condemning that and saying, as long as you have one hostage, we actually don't have one single right to open our big stupid mouths about anything that Israel does because you have their hostages. That's where the conversation ends. That's where the conversation stops. That is where the world begs Hamas to say, please release the hostages so you can save your women and children. This is not brain science. This is not fucking surgery, you morons. This is saying, you let go of the hostages, then we will consider not destroying you. And then we will consider something. No, you're telling me that they've had hostages for now years, and the world is weeping over Hamas and Hezbollah because they continuously put their women and their children in the firing line of a war. That's what I'm trying to say here. So if all the nations of the world want to come against Israel, not only are you fulfilling prophecy and I'll advance my agenda, but again I curse you, saith I, sweareth Yahweh Elohim. But you were welcome to fly those Airbuses in and pick all those ones up that your heart is wrenching for. And like I said, clear the area then. If you're that worried about it, let them into your own countries. They will not be coming to America, period. That is an absolute zero tolerance policy. No drop-offs in America. We drop people out. We take their asses out. I don't care. If we got to go into a worldwide deficit and a decredit rating just to afford the fucking fuel to get these jetliners and get these people out of my countries, America and Israel. It ain't gonna stand. It ain't gonna stand, because I'm telling you right now, this is a promise. If we can get to that part, if I can get America and Israel to know me, their Elohim, to accept the 10 Commandments on a state and national level, both places, at the minimum, I will put a dome over both places, an absolute 100% protection, and I will turn the earth's oven on. I will bake it 800 degrees every inch of earth other than America and Israel, and I'll torch the whole planet. Trump and Benjamin, you can have the whole world. You ain't going to have to worry about Russia. You ain't going to worry about nobody. That's a promise. But that only happens, again, if I want those evil people out. We are not going to stop the repaving of Gaza. And all the countries, again, that's what I mean. They have just signed, sealed, and delivered their own asses to me, God. They said, God, spitting in that eye, blaspheme that name, side with the devil. I think we've completed our checklist of going to hell on a shuttle. I say so. Azrael, you will have many, many of work to do coming soon. So, my last note here is when Trump has this meeting with Putin and Zelensky. That's the conversation behind closed doors that needs to happen. If Putin can open his eyes and see the big picture of what I, as Elohim, am about to do to the whole world, he'll actually take his small prize off the table, and he'll begin to see the larger picture. Fear me, your Elohim, above all else. Do not disobey me. Repent for those sins, and I too shall spare those lands of any country that denounces this Hamas, Gaza, Hezbollah, Iran thing. Stop working with them, stop helping them, stop harboring them, stop fueling them, stop propagating shit against them, for them. Fall in line under me, Yahweh Elohim, and I'll spare you. If not, you're not going to have to worry about who's getting Kyiv or what's it with Ukraine. Guys, I will turn it all 800 degrees. Not even bacteria is going to survive when I am done with it. And imagine the remnants that are in America and Israel. Imagine them after a few years of witnessing with their own eyes this torrential firestorm that has never ceased, that has cooked everything. The world would not even be recognizable. You could stand anywhere in the world where there were landmarks and buildings and palaces and places of commerce and trade, and you know what? It wouldn't even be recognizable. There would not even be a brick to identify. There wouldn't be a shard of glass or plastic or metal or anything. It would be completely and utterly Mars-like. Just barren. Nothing. No people, nothing. The only thing left are how clean you've made America and Israel. See, imagine that. Now imagine when I flip the table and now the world doesn't have any resources because there's no trade, as I've said. All the wicked countries that wanted to stand with evil put their hand up and said, Yahweh, we want you to devastate us. And the people decided to put ignorant people into office, then that was your problem. You should have held on to your righteous and moral value a lot more than wanting to be loosey-goosey with your morality, wanting to be loosey-goosey with righteousness, wanting to be loosey-goosey with the people of Israel, the Jews, my people, as everyone should have known. And if you knew that the Jews were my people, then you should have known right away that I am not a Roman idol. I am not named Jesus. I was not born in South America. I was not born in Mexico or Colombia or anything. So, point back. Think big picture. Because if you don't, I'm going to force you to. And then all those, right? Imagine we're in that phase. Imagine now we have, what is it? Either 500, or 500,000. It's all by will, right? Because even those that are on America and Israel, right? If you're like, I'm a free transgender faggot and I'm proud. Okay, fine. Boom. Put you outside the dome. You wouldn't last a half a second. And guess what? You were inconsequential and no one knew your name. Who's next? Exactly. So then who is left would then find a purpose within the border that I give you. You would find trade and commerce with the brothers that I've given you. And we will work out all these things about me and my book in those times, right? And you'll learn how to build society and keep it clean. The streets should never have trash. I, as the Lord God, am dealing with neighbors, my new neighbors, by the way. And I said, right, the for sale sign was ball backy. This is what I mean. This is the enemy in this creation that is constantly needling me. And the thing is, they can't do anything to me. They can never hurt me. They can never curse me. They can never touch or harm any of my family. But they could irritate me. What irritates me? I mean, if I was doing a live right now and I said, by a show of hands, can anyone tell me what would irritate me? Imagine someone constantly not being able to keep their own trash cleaned up. My new neighbors love to keep their chicken trash right next to my beehive. Packs of ketchup. These people eat fast food every fucking day. It's disgusting. Go to the grocery store. But it's been like 4 days and I have yet to pick up the damn trash next to my house. It's insulting and it's infuriating that I've worked so hard to keep my yard nice and to keep my little shack as neat and clean and tidy as I can, only to have neighbors next to me who give two shits less, and they're so comfortable with being nasty that they just let it spill over into my yard. And you know what? They just say, well, if you like a clean yard, it's your problem to keep it clean. This is the mentality of the world. That's the mentality of Hamas. That's the mentality of Palestinians. I won't even call them Palestinians, because people that are uninfected by demonic parasites, you're not Philistines anymore, right? You're sons of Esau, and that means you're the brother of Jacob. That means that you worship Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah, and you obey the Ten Commandments. So what are you doing hanging out with people that are worshiping demons and Baal and shit like this? What are you doing? Like, check your righteousness. And never did I say go and murder people for this reason and that reason. There are times that life needs to be taken, and there are times that I sanctify it. But it is only in the sense that I know where the demon root is and where it needs to be pulled out. And I was hoping to have this done way before the nations became sick as a whole, because as we see, right? Oh, we stand with murderers. We stand with those who still have hostages. We are so stupid in the mind and in the heart and in the soul, and we have no spirit, that we see these little pictures of abuse and issues in Gaza, and we fall for it, and we think that Israel is genocidal. Oh, you fucking people are so stupid. Did Israel break into Gaza and go and kidnap 1,200 people? No, that was Hamas. That was Gaza. That's what I'm trying to say. So you need to really check your righteousness, because I'm about to unleash. Here's another sweet fun thing about being me, Yahweh. I can replicate. See, your scientists could actually prove me a lie. I said this more than the Bible ever could. And at least in my realness, because I am able to do a duplicate. So instead of worrying about one as, I can make millions and copy as, all with the same purpose, will, and mission. And therefore, it is like having the same one, but millions of places. And you know what they do? They surveil you. They will surveil you. This is not flesh and blood, so sit down. This is all in spirit. Remember, your board game down here is all what you can see, all what you can hear, all what you can feel. Understand something. When it comes to how I see you, you're a bunch of blind rats in a maze with really bad hearing and no sense to pick up vibration. So you're walking down black corridors, and you can't see the world that is overlaid on your world already. Such is my point. Because when you have actually had your spiritual confirmation and you have received the gifts of the Spirit, you too will see what's already been right in front of your eyes, and you've never seen it. So, Have a good Tuesday. Maybe we'll check with you tomorrow.